Hi, I wanted to talk about the recent developments in the Linux kernel. We get to the point when there are no bugs in the Linux kernel and there are no issues to solve, and that lead to a point when it is just cosmetic changes on the Linux kernel, which is a very nice thing. What happened recently is somebody from Intel committed a code change to the Linux kernel that is removing the fuck word. For example, avoid fucking up the memory controller somehow by reading it. And that is replaced with avoid hugging up the memory controller somehow by reading it. This is actually not really inclusive because, for example, if you have autism, you are suffering from autism, then you read that command and you immediately start thinking about hugging, which is not a nice experience because it is just blocking all of your sensors in your body and in your mind, and you are just not feeling comfortable to commit to that code and to modify that code and make it better. I think the original version was a little bit better, but I am not affected by this at all. I don't care. Hugging, I very often hugging with my wife as well and with my kids as well. But I'm just thinking about what if somebody is autistic? That would much definitely cause him to not commit any code to the kernel. Another issue I see with this is it is making a little bit hard to read in some cases, and this is not really contributing anything else other than wording in the comments. And this is a word we are frequently using when we are creating software, and I think removing it from the kernel is not a big improvement, especially when you are not even committing any other code changes. It is not changing any behavior, not fixing any bugs, just changing the wording in the comment. In general, I'm not sure I'm happy about this, because when you read this comment and you want to try to commit something, you want to try to fix a problem, an issue, then you will find it very difficult to realize the original meaning of the word if you don't know the history of this commit. So another example of a replacement is IOC 3 is hugged the beyond belief. And if I read that comment, I'm not sure I understand what is happening here. Why IOC 3 is hugging the hugged, somebody who is already hugged, why you need to hug it again? And beyond belief, what you cannot believe about hugging? It is just very confusing. And there is another one, which is, okay, maybe you think if you read that comment that somebody tried to replace an F word with hugging, but again, it is in a comment, so why would anybody do that? So it sounds like hugging broken ABI. Okay, that is probably not a matter of misunderstanding, but I think everybody will realize that was the original word and that was replaced intentionally. And another one is hug, we are miserable, poor guys. I think it is another example of, you will think hugging is a swear word, because if you try to replace a swear word with a normal word, then the normal word will become a swear word. And this is not a good trend to have, because then you will not be able to say hugging in schools, and you will not be able to ask your mother, for example, to hug you, because then she will think you are swearing. So here is another one. Only Sun can take such nice parts and hug up the programming interface like this. Good job, guys. Again, this is not very easy to understand, especially if you are not a native English speaker. And it is just, you will not understand what is the connection between the sun and hugging. Sun is not hugging, because if sun is hugging you, then you are already dead. It is 5,000 degrees, you know, and it is maybe. Why would you like to hug the programming interface? The programming interface is not something you can touch. It is an entity, and you don't need to hug it in order to make it better. So Yeah, this is not very easy to understand if you are not an English native speaker. The other issue with this is that it is the code of conduct that was almost forced to the Linux developers that is causing this to happen. And I find maybe it is related to recent issues that caused football games to make cheerleaders disappear. I don't know. Maybe the same group are forcing this onto us? Very interesting.